Hey guys, what's up? It is me, Paigey, here with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D, and this is the Season 3, Episode 2 review, and this was a pretty good episode. It did tie up some loose ends. One thing that happened at the end of the episode, I was a bit unsure of. I thought they might have extended it a bit longer, but I'm not going to spoil anything now, because there will be spoilers in this review. If you have not seen the episode, make sure you go check it out, and then come back to this video if you want to, and have a listen to my review. So if you do going to enjoy the video, make sure to leave a like, leave any comments on the episode, and subscribe if you're new. So the episode begins off with this like flashback to England, and roughly around, I think it's like the mid 1800s, in this sort of like castle thing, where these guys are having this meeting, and it's actually where the monolith is, and they were just sort of having a draw to see who would be chosen to go into the monolith, and they're trying to find the secrets about it, but up to that point no one had returned from it, and as we know now, I don't think anyone's returned from it before what happens at the end of this episode. So this episode starts off straight after what happened at the end of episode 1. As we know, at the end of episode 1, Fitz was like banging on the monolith, basically just going mental, and so everyone else finds him doing that. They pull him away just before it goes into like its liquid form, or its teleportation form, whatever you want to call it, and they do find some sand, so they find out that it is some form of portal. So this is basically what a lot of the episode is, and what a lot of the episode revolves around in regards to like the main S.H.I.E.L.D group. Now remember Rainoff from season 2, who was like the Asgardian, so they go to him to find out if he knows anything about it. He does, but he's sort of like on the edge, like he's not really blabbering out information, but he does know some stuff. Now in the meantime, while all this is happening, we get Dr. Garner, who actually comes in to test Joey. We don't see any of that, we just see him come in and then mention May, and then we cut off to May, who's taking care of her dad, but we also see Hunter go and visit May and try to help entice her to come help him kill Ward, and towards the end of the episode she does agree to that. But I really want to get that out of the way, because that's just like all happening in the background while all of this other stuff is happening, so we'll get straight into that other stuff right now. So the first thing with this other stuff, before we get into the main monolith stuff, we do get some stuff with Ward doing various Hydra shenanigans. That's what I'm going to call them, and we also get him basically abducting Baron von Strucker's son, but then it ends up being like a recruitment phase, because he is able to like get out of that situation where they're trying to get all these bank passwords and stuff like that. So he's going to be like one of the main keys to trying to like revive Hydra, which will probably play out through the rest of this season. Now this is the main stuff, which is the monolith stuff. So essentially we get the group, or the main group, which is like Bobby, Coulson, Mac, Chloe, and Fitz, and Rainoff, who's with them. They visit the castle in England, which was from the flashback, which is pretty cool, so that actually played some sense into the rest of the episode, which is good to see. Now they find this like secret passage, and inside the secret passage is like this, I'm just going to call it like a steampunk machine, because that's what it looked like. It's all steampunk, which is pretty cool. But essentially what this machine does is able to open and close the monolith's portal at will, so if they could just turn it on, it opens, which is pretty cool. But the thing is, it when they turn it on, it like goes with against what's her name? Did I just call it Chloe? I meant to say Daisy before, but it goes against Daisy's powers, and essentially Daisy passes out. The machine breaks, and then it's actually figured out that Daisy's powers alone can actually open up the monolith portal. But obviously she's not used to like using her powers for an extensive amount of time, so they know that there is a time limit which the portal can be open at one time. So the main idea for this was actually to send a camera in, see what was going around the earth, but obviously Fitz, desperate to get Simmons back, just ties the rope to himself, or the chain, whatever you want to call it, and just dives into the portal himself. It was really like a sandstorm essentially happening, and he's able to rescue Simmons. Now this is the thing that, it didn't really piss me off a lot, like I wasn't really annoyed, but I was hoping that she would have stayed there for a bit longer, but I realised like they couldn't have like left it that long, like really, like it's almost impossible that she would have survived even longer. Even at this point, really, it's almost impossible that she would have survived that long, depending on like how long she's been there. Like in that time, it could only be like a second, and it's been 3 months, you know what I mean? Like it could only been a day, and it's been 3 months on Earth. So you got to equate that, like she might not have been there for as long as they think that she's been there. One interesting thing to take from this episode, though, is that Simmons looks like she's been affected by it, which is what a lot of people were predicting. So it looks like she's either affected by it just mentally, or stuff that she saw on that planet where she may have had to defend herself, which might play into the rest of this season, which will be pretty interesting, and maybe even some people that she met on that planet might make their way to Earth. I don't know if it will happen that way, but it'll be pretty interesting to see, and we'll just have to wait and find out how it folds out, I guess. And like the end credit scene which they have at the end of every episode, which is Von Strucker's son. I can't remember his first name. We'll learn it throughout this season. He enrolls in one of Dr. Garner's classes, which will be pretty interesting. It's probably going to be his way of like possibly infiltrating S.H.I.E.L.D. or something like that. We'll have to wait and see how it folds out. So overall, this episode was pretty good. I'd probably give it about 3.5 out of 5 for a S.H.I.E.L.D. episode. And it'll be pretty interesting to see how it folds out throughout the rest of the season. So if you enjoyed the video, make sure to leave a like, leave any comments on what you thought on this episode, and subscribe if you're new. I did a flash review earlier, make sure you go check that out. And I'll catch you later. Goodbye.